Hey everybody, this is my 125 gallon tank and I'm about to do a water change on it. I'm not going to mess with the filter. I will get in and wipe the glass down though. My main goal is to get in there and remove a lot of the floating plants. It's just getting so thick and dark on both of the ends that you can hardly even see what's going on in the tank. And so my goal is mostly just to get in there and thin those plants out, and while I'm doing that I may as well do a water change and get the tank cleaned up a little bit. I'll get the front glass cleaned off. So this is going to be a pretty simple video. We're just going to do a before and after. Maybe after we're done the water change we'll talk about the tank a little bit more, but in the meantime I just want to get started working on it. So we're going to call this part your before, and there's your after. So I really opened it up, I really brightened it up a lot. The combination between all of the plants I removed and then of course all the tannins I removed when I did the big water change, it's really brightened the tank up a lot. I want to walk over here and zoom in on my Tenopoma and my Synodontis. They're both hiding. They're very stealthy. So I like it. I think it looks a lot better. I was able to find a piece of that, whatever that plant is there. I'd put several pieces in and some of them were gone. And so that was actually up floating in the big massive plants, and I was able to recover it and get it planted back in the substrate again. Hopefully that rock will hold it into place. You can see up here I really went through and cleaned out a lot of the new growth that was in there. I tried to preserve as much of the old plant as I could, except I trimmed out the, the yellowing fronds, the ones that were sort of past their prime and kind of done. The ones that were growing straight up and curling up against the glass, I trimmed those out. I also got in there and I removed all of the little babies that were in the root mass from the Java Fern here. I removed several of the little babies off of this fern. I'm not even sure what kind of fern that is, but I have it tucked behind this rock. And that had a bunch of little stunted babies on it. I don't know how well they're going to do. You can see the fern itself isn't doing very well. So we'll see how that plays out. I also removed a huge chunk of Java Fern off of this. You can actually see a little baby right there on the very tip of that one frond. I didn't get that apparently. But I actually broke off a big chunk of the rhizome that was growing in there. It was just so big it didn't need to be in there. It was blocking the current and the water flow and light and everything else. And then of course you can see I left behind a huge mass of the Java Fern anyway. So removing that piece wasn't hurting anything. And I'll show you where it went in a few minutes. This chunk of Java Fern probably ought to get thinned out here pretty soon too. I don't know how attached to the woodwork that is. You can see I've got a great big piece of wood down here, and the Java Fern is just sort of tucked under the edge and the wood's just kind of holding it down. So by now, for the year and a half or 2 years or whatever it's been, 2.5 years, I don't even know how long it's been, those roots are probably now attached pretty solidly to that piece of wood. We'll have to see how that plays out too. The Aponegeton here, I had so many little pieces of that and all these little streamers that went up, these little runners that went up to the top. I pulled 5 or 6 little babies off of this thing, and then you can see I've even got this one comes all the way up. That's not a runner with the baby on it. That is just one of the pieces of foliage, leaves I guess. I'm not sure whether you'd call them leaves or fronds or what. I guess leaves would be the correct word there. But this thing is going to be a vigorous grower, I think. I'm probably going to have a lot of this for sale in the fairly near future. Remember, I've got all this stuff I'm talking about I've got for sale, so check out my email in the description below and catch up with me if you're trying to get any of these plants, because I've got them for sale. I've got lots of them now. So you can see I got in there and removed a whole bunch of that floating Water Sprite as well, and just opened up the tank in general. It just looks a whole lot better. So what I did with the Aponegeton was I put a lot of it over here in the back corner of my native tank, and I actually put some of it up here in this front corner under the rock, and it's already gone. So I don't know if that has made its way up to the top and is in there floating around somewhere. That's entirely possible. I also took that huge mass of fern I was talking about and we put it right there. There's my pleco up there. That thing is growing so fast and getting so big. It's not coming out really well on camera because of the way the light is shining on it and the camera itself. But that is getting really big. I'm really happy with that. So here's the big piece of fern. I know it's kind of hard to tell at the angle. It's angled almost directly away from us at a 45-degree angle, lying flat against that large rock, but it covers the entire face of that large rock. It was a really big chunk of rhizome, and the result is we're going to hopefully have some good solid Java Fern growing in this tank, and the tilapia won't be able to chew it up faster than it actually roots in and gets to growing. So let me make my way around the jungle here in the center of the room, and we will wrap up with one final look at the 125. See, the Synodontis has come out and is making his way around a little bit. I don't see my Tenopoma hiding anymore, so he's in there somewhere. Oh, there he is. He's in the very far back, drifting down towards the bottom now. Now he just caught the current. He's going to surf to the middle of the tank. And there he goes, like back in his hiding spot. So, alright everybody, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Make sure you're subscribed, that way you don't miss anything I got coming up. I am actually in the middle of shooting a video about my 20-gallon angelfish tank while we're down here. I'm going to be making some changes to that, so it's just going to be a simple before and after video, but you don't want to miss it. And as I said, if you're subscribed, you won't miss it or anything else. So don't forget, this one here is my 125-gallon tank. Thanks again for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you real soon in the next one.